Yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. My name is Richendo Grace today, and I'm a financial advisor. I do work with Int'l Partners, which is based out of Canada. And we are here building leaders in the financial industry and promoting the language of a better life. So you and me, I believe we all want a better life, right? So today I just structured and titled this part to be Empower Her Finances, a journey to financial freedom. Okay. So unleashing the power of women in financial world. So I'm hoping that by the end of the day, you would have gained a few insights and knowledge to some of the financial concepts. I try to just put as much information as possible so that we can learn together today. Okay. So I'm just inviting you right now to have an open mind. Okay. Because I know, like, finances in general, not many people want to talk about finances. I want you right now to just connect with you whether you are right now about your finances. So you may not have a single penny in your account right now, and you might be feeling so frustrated and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes when you are just focusing on that, it may close you from receiving some of the information and welcoming other education pieces that will help you move you from one place to the other. Okay. So I'm just inviting you to just have an open mind, open heart. You may have millions in your bank account, but we're just going to be on the same level play field right now, whereby we are just going to invite this knowledge, invite these insights, because we all want to be better. God wants us to be successful, all of us. He doesn't pick and choose. As the Bible tells us, rain comes to everybody, right? Good and bad. The sun shines upon all of us. God doesn't really pick favorites. We are all his own, right? So don't just think that wealth and prosperity is for a particular type of people. It's for you as well. So don't cut yourself out when we are talking about some of these things. And it doesn't matter where you are at right now. You can work diligently, step by step, taking baby steps towards financial freedom. All right. That said, let's just look at our agenda. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about me, and we'll talk about why are we even caring about financial literacy, financial empowerment for women. Okay, and then we'll look at some of the Bible verses that or talk about money, and then how money works, financial planning and budgeting basics, savings, and growing your money, and insurance basics as well. At the end, you have an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have as well. Okay. All right. So my little brief intro, I know Blantin did mention some of the things as well. So as a team lead at Biso Center and a financial and associate partner with Int'l Partners, I'm a licensed life insurance agent and have over 7 years experience in the financial education services, insurance, investments, and debt management. I'm certified in management, CIM, as a management professional, as well with skills with operations management, contract management, human resources, health and wellness, customer service, and training and development. My mission is to empower and educate everyone, and mostly here in Canada, I would say Canadians, but in general, everyone, on how to achieve financial security and stability and to build leaders in the financial industry. So each one of you, every one of us can be leaders, okay? So I'm passionate about reaching out to diverse, underserved communities, providing them with the resources and tools they need to make informed and confident financial decisions. I'm also inspired by leadership and personal development, and I enjoy mentoring and coaching others to help them grow and succeed in whatever area they choose. That's it. Okay, so now let's talk about why. Why do we want to be empowered as women? Why do we want to be empowered financially and with financial knowledge? Okay, so when we get empowered with financial knowledge, right, we kind of have a healthy relationship with money, right? We don't just think, oh, maybe money is out of reach for me, right? It is in reach, but you just have to know how you can reach it yourself as well, right? If others can do it, why not you? Okay, so I always want to promote money mindfulness, whereby we become present and aware of how money is earned, how money is spent, how money is saved, and how money is invested. When you get to know all about that and you are mindful about that, right, and how you yourself are positioning yourself in this beautiful world, how do you want to earn money? And how are you going to spend that money? And the money that you earn, how are you going to save it? What are you going to be saving for? And where are you going to be investing some of that money? So we'll touch some of those concepts today, but I just want us to have this mindfulness about money and have a good relationship with money as well. And not just think that it's something that, is far-fetched. No, it's not. We want to be able to understand that each one of us, you have the right and you are able to sit down and do a proper financial plan for yourself and for your family. And when we are empowered as women about money matters, hey, the community, the society is empowered. The person that is usually taking care of the family, who is that? Mostly it's us as women. We are on the forefront in the communities, in our families. So once we are empowered ourselves, we can empower others, right? And we can be responsible with our money. So that's why we need to be empowering ourselves with this knowledge. And that we may be able to tackle any challenges that come our way. We have the knowledge and understanding on how to address it. And we will be empowered to prepare ahead, right? Okay. So let's look at some of the Bible verses that I just put together here, because most of the times we disassociate what we are doing and the plans that we're doing and think maybe, oh, I don't know, like this is worldly or anything like that. But God loves us to be wealthy and to have a good life, right? So one thing that we have to also understand is that, there are Bible verses that talk about money and we can relate with them in different ways. Okay. So the first one that I'm looking at is Proverbs 22 verse 7. It says, the rich rule over poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. I'll repeat that. The rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. So when we are talking about empowering ourselves, we're talking about positioning ourselves in a way whereby we end up not being the borrowers all the time. Because if we are always on the borrowing side, someone is ruling over us. We're giving someone else power over us. But we need to take that power back. So going to debt with credit cards, going to debt to go borrow from someone else, you're becoming a slave of that person. And the only way to empower yourself is to get yourself in that position where you are no longer the borrower. You become the lender. And when you become the lender, you become the boss, so to say. So you empower yourself that way. Okay. Proverbs 31 verse 16 says, she considers a field and she buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. Isn't that awesome? that talks about expansion. A woman who is not just sitting on their or on the just sitting down and doing nothing and waiting for someone else to be a rescuer or a hero to them. No, we're looking at a woman of valor. And talking, this can also relate to investments. That the little that you are working and earning every day, when you save it and then you invest it so that you can multiply it, that goes a long way. Yes, you might have been having just a small field here when you were working diligently, and then you end up being able to have a vineyard. Luke 14, verse 28 says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? So whatever plans that you have in your life, even right now, I encourage each and every one of us, make sure you start from a plan. Don't just jump into that idea that you want to do or anything like that. Yes, it's good to jump after opportunities and all that kind of stuff, but plan it out, especially financially. Calculate what are the costs that you'll be incurring, what do you have to think of, how much time is it going to take you. All those things, you have to put them into consideration. Okay? So I'll read that one more time. Suppose one of you wants to buy a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? This is about financial planning as well. That's the whole point. Because you can't be walking in life without a financial plan. You have to see where you are going and then plan for it and put things in place to get and reach those goals that you put in place. And Proverbs 21 verse 5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. Proverbs 14 verse 15 says, the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. So who are you? Are you the prudent one? Or are you the simple one? Proverbs 21 verse 20 says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. So you do have to have some savings of some sort. You can't be earning and spending everything that you're earning. You have to store up some for the future. And Ecclesiastes 11 verse 1 says, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. So when you invest, yes, you might not see results right away, but you are going to see it. So don't be afraid to invest. Proverbs 3 verse 9 to 10 says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled and to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine to overflowing. That should be your language. That should be your confession. My life is a life of overflow. Most of the times, we want to be there for many people, but you can't be there. You can't be emptying. You can't be pouring from an empty cup. You need to be filled to overflow so that you can be able to pour out to other people and share. It's a good thing. And I know, like all of us, we are givers in the church, right? But if you are giving from debt, if you having to use credit cards to give, something has to be corrected there. because you should be giving from the abundance that God has blessed you, from the overflow. So something needs to be corrected, and you start enjoying that life of overflow. We should be praying, God, yes, because He's the God of overflow. So don't count yourself out on that line. Say, I'm in that line. I'm first in line for the overflow, because I want to be a mighty giver, a generous giver in my church, in my community, in my family, but giving from overflow, not from an empty cup. Proverbs 4 verse 3 says, I can do all things through Christ, which gives me strength. So we all can be empowered financially. We can be empowered to make giant strides. We can be empowered to be entrepreneurs, to build businesses. We can be empowered to make lots of money so that there will be plenty in God's house and in our own house, so that we don't have to struggle another day in our own homes. We are Christians, God's children. Struggle should not be named in our homes, but that comes from planning and being diligent in executing your plans. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs 22, verse 29 says, do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. That's you. Every woman here listening to me, you will serve before kings because you're diligent and skilled in what you are doing. Whatever it is, even if it's going to the market to sell tomatoes, even if it's doing hair or selling hair, whatever it is that you put your hands to is blessed. You will serve before kings. You ought to. And don't remove yourself from that line. Say, I'm one of those.
I'm one of those.
Amen. Amen. Proverbs 31 verse 25 says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come because you've worked hard. You deserve that joy that comes in the end. Proverbs 16 verse 3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Come on now. He will. You have to commit them to the Lord. We are not working on our own. We have the Holy Ghost on our side who will help us to execute whatever plan it is that you put your mind to. And Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 says, for I know the plans that I have for you, the plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Wow. God bless His word. He's just awesome. You know, all these nuggets just in His word that He has blessed us with. Just take a moment to just thank God that He wants you to be successful. He wants you to prosper, and He is for you. All right. Now let's talk about how money works. All right. I'm sure some of you have seen this, what we call the cash quadrant. The 4 ways that people can use to produce income. Okay. As you can see, there's the left side. I don't know how you're looking at it, but there's the left side and the right side. The left side with the E and S, the right side with the B and I. I don't know which side you want to be. Usually we're sold into becoming employees, and most of the times we work as employees all our lives, as if that's the only thing that is out there. Because sometimes we don't know any better. It's good, but most of the times we find that that's where only 5% of the world is. 100% of the world in the whole wide world is elsewhere. And only 5% is available for people that are employees. So we are all fighting for a piece of pie that is so small. And we struggle. We have challenges to say, okay, why am I not making ends meet or anything like that? These are some of the secrets of the wealthy. They know that you can't get rich on a job. That's reality. And you have to be relying on your boss. You are giving your time to earn money. And if, say for example, if per hour you are getting $10 per hour, whatever it is that you do, you get $10 per hour. How many hours do you need to get $100? That's 10 hours, right? Okay. So now here's how we empower ourselves. Position yourself to be a high-end employee then. If you choose to be someone who is an employee, position yourself to earn more. So instead of being those that are earning the $10, why not per hour position yourself to be able to get to $100 per hour? If you were just looking for $100 and you can do work that just $100 per hour, there you go. Compared to someone who has to work 10 hours to get the same $100. You see where the challenge is and where the mindset has to shift. Someone has to work 10 hours to get $100, and the other will just work 1 hour and they'll get $100. I'm just keeping things simple. Of course, you can expand it to millions, to billions, whatever. I'm just wanting to communicate just the basics. So you position yourself. How much do you want to work harder for peanuts, or do you want to work harder or smarter and get more in abundance? I believe we all deserve the latter. So position yourself. If it's education you need to empower yourself to get there, then do it. If you need to do some more research to empower yourself to get there, do it. The quadrant which says S, self-employed, is not too far from the job part. Not too far from the job part. Because you are just buying a job, so to say. And if you are self-employed, nothing will happen. If you don't do anything, there's no money. So many people are out there saying, oh, I'm starting a business, or I'm doing a business. If you're not there, or if you can't produce, then there's no money. And you have to put time and effort to make it count and make money. The wealthy people and the wiser people, they move themselves to the right end, to the right side of the quadrant, where they become either the business owners or investors. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is, small or big. Hire people to work for you, and you get more money. You enjoy the income, the flow of income. Where you have a system in place that is working for you. And you can make money whether you are there or not. And then you get to that investor position whereby money is just working for you. You invest that money and it's just growing and growing. We'll talk about that as well. You let it grow to the point whereby you don't have to worry. It grows to a point whereby you are able to, you're able to take care of all the other needs without worrying. Understand this cash flow quadrant. What does that mean to you? Which side do you want to be for the rest of your life? If you are wanting to empower yourself, then you have to start making some changes. Empower yourself to God, even if to start from the little thing. Find people that want, to have their houses cleaned because they are busy going to work, they are busy running businesses and all that kind of stuff. You be the one who comes and takes care of those houses for them. And when they come home, they come to a neat, nice place, and you get the money in your pocket. Find people that need babysitting. Or you can say, hey, if you want to go for a date night as a couple, let me look after your kids and you just pay me a little bit. Be creative. Don't just sit down. God has given us this mind so that we can be creative and use it for His glory. There are many other businesses that are there, online businesses, in-person businesses. Find something that you can be passionate about. But learn and understand it. That are you exchanging your time for money? Or are you being smart about your time? All right. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So I know we have people from different countries here. Okay. So I'm just gonna, this is more based on like the North American kind of system, but it might also apply to you, so to say, right, in your different countries. So that's you. You take your money to the bank. They give you maybe 0 to 4% or maybe to 5%. It's these days it's a little bit better because of the inflation. Sometimes some of the rates have kind of been adjusted and all, but usually it was like almost 0.5 or 0%, or maybe you have your money in bank and it's not even growing any interest. How many of you are in that position? You don't have to answer right now, but just think about that. And the money that you take and put into the bank, do you think the banks will just keep it there and sit on it? No. They'll take it to what we call money managers, professional money managers, and they'll invest it on their behalf. And they'll earn more interest, even more than what they might give you. And when you come back and say, oh, I want my money, you said it will grow at 2%, they'll give you the 2%, but maybe they got it growing at 8% or 12%, and they keep the balance and they just give you what they owe you. When you empower yourself, and when you're empowered, you can get to the point where you know, or you're connected. If you have a financial advisors, for example, in Canada, they can help you to access the professional money managers so that you can also be able to get and invest your money in a better rate as well. Because the same banks as well, the interest that they are giving you to grow your money will be so little. But what do? They turn around and then start giving you credit cards. at a higher percentage. So you have to pay more whilst they're giving you less. These are the basics of understanding how money works so that you empower yourself. You want your money to be growing more, and you want less of debt to be named under your name. I don't know where you are right now. You may start with one bag of money, but with diligence, with a plan in place, you can end up with more bags in the future. We are all going to retire one day. I don't know if you want to be working the rest of your life. I don't want to. So we empower ourselves to be able to grow our money over time, and later we can have more bags and have, financial freedom, not needing to beg anyone. Okay. I love this quote. It says, let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. Not you, my sisters, not you. It's time we take a stand together. We hold hand in hand. I believe that's what you guys have a mission with in this group. Together you stand and say, we're not going to be the ones that are living small lives. No. We won't leave our future in someone else's hands. We take control. We take charge. That's where financial planning comes in. So, financial planning, here's a roadmap that we can all follow and get ourselves in a better place. First, we have to educate ourselves, right? About how money works. We just spoke about some of those things. There's more, but based on our time, it may take a little bit while to really go into really nitty-gritties of it all. But you need to empower yourself. Make it a habit that every week you learn something about money. Feel free to go on my YouTube and just watch a video. Empower yourself. If there's a topic that you don't understand, just go there and find, because I've covered many topics there. Just take, 30 minutes, an hour, educate yourself, empower yourself with knowledge. Do a watch party with someone else. Because if we are empowered as sisters together in our community, and it's not just you who is becoming rich. My sisters around me are becoming rich together alongside me. Because guess what? If you are the only one who is rich in the community or in the neighborhood, everyone is going to be coming to you for help and for all those things and stuff like that. But we want to change that. We want to empower our sisters around us so that we win together. We win together. And when we win together, we build a community that is strong, that is powerful. We don't really need to be borrowing at each other. Guess what? Hey, when we have parties, when we have birthdays and all that kind of stuff, it's not a struggle. We are actually fighting to give the best presents out there. Just because we are giving from an overflow. We are all empowered financially. There's no one weak among us. There's no jealousy among us. That's the type of community that I want to build. That's the type of community I want around me. I don't want just myself. That's why I love sharing some of these concepts and teaching as many people as will listen to me. Because I want to empower others around me. If you're successful, we are successful together. Okay? So empower yourself with financial education. Find ways to free up cash flow. That talks more of budgeting as well. If you are living paycheck to paycheck right now, you have to find some ways to free up cash flow. If you are buying certain things unnecessarily or anything like that, then you have to free up cash flow. It's time to start thinking, okay, maybe instead of buying takeaways every day, maybe instead of buying coffee every day, let me make it from home so I can save that money. Maybe instead of buying new shoes every month or a wig for every service, a new wig for every service, I can maybe buy maybe one per month and take good care of it for that month. Hey, you see the wig that I'm wearing? Maybe I'll put my camera at the end there. I had it since what? I think maybe 2018 or so. And it's still looking good. I still look beautiful in it because I take care of it. That's another principle. Whatever is entrusted in your hands, nurture it, take good care of it. Because those are some of the holes like that people make when whatever you have is getting destroyed easily, anyhow. Then you have to buy another one every time you have to replace it, whether it's cups, dishes, plates, pots, whatever it is. You have holes in your buckets that are just leaking. It may sound small. It may just be small things and, it's just, the glass just broke and all that kind of stuff. But if you're always breaking things every day and having to replace them, that's cash flow that is tied up in replacing things. But if you take good care of some of those things that are entrusted in your hands and you become a good steward of the money that God has blessed you with, you start making changes. The next is building an emergency fund. It's almost a nice way of saying also an insurance fund. So that in case of emergency, something happens, your car breaks down all of a sudden, you have money aside that you can just access to pay for it. Water has leaked in your house. You need a plumber to come and check it out. You can take from your emergency fund. But if you don't have money in the emergency fund, where else are you going to find it? Are you going to your neighbor to go ask for money from them? Are you getting more in debt using your credit card that you're not going to be able to pay off by the end of the month? What are you going to do? What sources are you going to rely on? So my sisters, let's work on building an emergency fund, or you can call it an opportunity fund if you want. That is about 3 to 6 months of savings that you set aside to be able to have them available when needed. That's how you empower yourself. It takes the stress out of your day. It takes the stress from living from paycheck to paycheck. And then we look at proper protection. And that alludes to insurance. Many people have different views on insurance and all the kind of stuff. Hey, whatever you want to believe. But for most of us, hey, that's another great way of how you can make money available for generations and generations to come. Because if you don't have money at your disposal at this moment, when you pass away, if you happen to pass away today, that's it. You're gone. And you're leaving nothing for your children and children's children. And the Bible asks us to leave some money for our children and children's children, right? So if you're not on that right hand of the quadrant, maybe you have a business or you are investing and you have so much money in abundance there that you can leave to your families. This is another way you can leave money to your family. You put protection in place over your life, over your family's life, so that when there's a challenge that comes in your family, yes, you're mourning, but you're not mourning without hope. And you can take care of things like any debt that was there. Children's education will be paid for. Housing, or you can pay off maybe mortgage or something like that. Think about proper protection. And then debt management. That's one of the things that really keep many people in a bad financial place or spot, because they keep servicing this debt. And with debt, most of the times it accrues interest. And those with high interest, like credit cards, and if you're not paying it fast enough, it can grow faster against you. And then it becomes a vicious cycle where sometimes you end up paying debt with debt. You're not able to meet your needs, and it is now eating on your cash flow, because all your money is now having to be servicing the debt. So as much as possible, if you have debt right now, you don't lose hope. Put a plan in place on how to tackle it. Find a financial advisor, talk to them, put a plan in place, and get out of debt as fast as possible, or manage it as fast as possible. There is good debt, there is bad debt. We won't really go into nitty-gritties of this today because of our time. But if you go on my YouTube, you can find more information there as well. We all need to be building wealth, doing some investments, making money work for us. And once we get there, we preserve the wealth that we have built. You can't be earning and then spending everything that you earn. We need to have our banks overflowing, right? And be able to share, and also be having much left over for others to enjoy even when we are gone. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about budgeting. I don't know how many of you are currently actively budgeting, but that's a really nice tool to empower yourself to know where your money is going and how you're spending your money. This is how you empower yourself. If you have any financial goals that you have, you can use a budget to prioritize those goals. So in your budget, you can set aside money for whatever goal that you are planning for. So if you want to buy a car by cash, you have a savings goal in your budget that you are setting aside some money every month for it. Okay? So a budget simply knowing your income, all the income sources that you have, whether it's from babysitting, from cleaning dogs, from being a doctor, whatever it is, all the money that is coming in, whether you're getting benefit checks from the government, put all that together, add it up, and then the expenses that you have, all your needs, the things that are really important to you for traveling, your vehicle, your house, your phone bills, any student loans, your groceries, everything like that. You should account for maybe about 50% in your budget. And then you have like wants at the bottom. And it can look differently for many different budgets, depending on your goals, where you're at. If one of your goals or family goals is to make sure that you have a date night with your husband every week, hey, then you prioritize it in your budget to say, we are eating out on a weekly basis, so we have to put money aside for that every month. If you're having a goal to say, I want to buy a house in the next little while, put it and prioritize it in your budget. That's how you empower yourself, and that's how you can see. So you can put it, this will be like your vision board right there. And it can tell you how fast or how slow you're going to get there. So if you want to save $1,000, how fast do you want to get to $1,000? Do you want to be putting $10 every week or something like that? And how long will it take you to get to 1,000? Do you want to be putting $100 every week? How long is that going to take you there? Or do you want to be setting $250 a week? And how long it's going to take you? That's your choice, based on your budget, based on your lifestyle and all. But you have to take those things into consideration. How fast do you want to get to your goals? How important is it to get to your goals? Prioritize them in your budget. So make sure you're like, start from scratch. It doesn't have to be fancy or big or whatever. It just gives you empowers you to know how much money is coming in and how much is going out. And that's how you tell how much of a good steward you are of what God is blessing you with. Okay. All right. Let's talk about savings. Okay. It's good to save money. So some people will just save it in the bank. And if it's growing at an interest rate that is below inflation, current inflation rates, then you have to look into other opportunities to grow your money. Because interest rates, they do matter. So if your money is actually growing at a rate that is below the inflation rate, then your money is already beaten, right? So you want to empower yourself to get to that point whereby you are positioned to earn more. And you can understand the power of compound interest with this chart. Okay, so say all of us, we are age 29, okay, right now. And we have 10,000 that we want to put towards our investments, right? And let's just say we put it in investment company X, okay? And say they're giving us 4%. The rule of 72 is if you divide the interest rate that you're getting, in this case 4%, if you divide it into 72, it will give you the number of years it will take for your money to double. Okay, so the rule of 72 for compounding interest is you divide the interest that you're getting into 72, and it will give you the number of years it will take for your money to double. So in this case, we are at 29, and the 4% will take 18 years to double. So every 18 years, our money is doubling. 20,000 at 47, and at 65, our money will be $40. So say, for example, we are planning for retirement. That same 10,000, right? And then at 65, we come back to the bank and say, Bank X, I want my money back, what you owe me. And that's 40,000, and they'll give you 40,000. And that same Bank X, that same 10,000 that you put in, they'll go put it in an investment that grows faster for them, maybe at 12%. And at 12%, if you say 12 into 72, it will take 6 years for the money to double. So every 6 years, that money is doubling, right? So at the age of 65, when you want your 40,000, they've already made about 640 from that same $10,000. That's the power of compound interest. So the higher the interest rate, the faster the money grows, actually. So when you come back to the bank and say, hey, can I have my 40,000? They give you the 40,000, and guess what? They'll keep 600,000 in their pockets. Does that make them bad people? No, that's business. They are empowered with knowledge, and they are smart about their money. And you can be too. So there are many options that you can start investing. You can even start small, but just start the habit and keep at it and be disciplined at it. If you want to learn more about like the nitty-gritties of the different investments and all that kind of stuff, make sure you position yourself to know some of these things. And the good part about this, when you do investments, there are many ways that you can invest your money. In stocks, maybe real estate, buying real estate, selling or renting out, mutual funds, all those things. Whatever it is, you need to position yourself to be winning, on the winning side. And how do you know you're winning? Put it in front of you. Calculate the numbers. And one thing that you have to know about investments, it's not like we can't predict the market, but there are things that you can do to empower yourself to win in the investing game. It's not all for the faint-hearted, as they say, but you can empower yourself. Okay. So when you diversify your investments, maybe by region, to say, okay, I'll buy from different countries and all that kind of stuff, right? You're not just having one stock. Or maybe by different sectors, you can say maybe some in energy, some in tech, some in financial, some in food, you can just buy different ones, There's power in diversification. Because if one industry fails, at least the others are still thriving. So your money is still protected and can still be growing. This is what they talk about when they say don't put all your eggs in one basket. When you put eggs in one basket, say if you said, okay, I'm going to put all my money in Apple, the company, right? If Apple just gets out of business just like that, that's it. Your money is gone. But when you diversify, you empower yourself to still be winning. All right. And this is where, a nice illustration for safety in diversification, because we really can't predict the winners and the losers. One year, the one that was best performing might be the least performing in another year. And you don't know when that's going to change, kind of deal. So that's where you can diversify. You have different ones there and you empower yourself. So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket and you're not going to be so worried. The good thing about investing as well, and one thing that you have to give it time, especially if you are investing for the long term, like a period of 5 years and above, so that you can actually see the growth over time. Because 1 year, 2 years, you are gambling with your money, so to say. Because if the markets are down, or maybe we have a case where we just had COVID and things kind of were shaken and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe you are starting in an area whereby maybe there's a recession or anything like that, right? And you are just wanting to give it 1 year. Maybe you might lose your money in that year. That doesn't mean that investments are bad. You just have to have an understanding of what investments are. Okay. And this one is more on the Canadian, Northern American kind of deal, but you might be able to relate it in your countries as well. Like the different ways that you can put your money or you can invest your money in. So in Canada, people can invest their money in a home. Their registered retirement savings plan. So whatever plan, how you call it in your country, for a registered savings plan, whether with your companies, whether with the pension company, some of those things, they can't be there. One thing that you have to understand is the tax implications that come with that, so that you position yourself to be winning, or at least to be knowing what will be the impact for each one of them. So there are some that are tax advantaged, and there are some that there are some tax concerns or challenges that you have to put into consideration. Okay. So there are some open accounts that are not registered accounts. And then like here in Canada, they have a tax-free savings account where you can grow your money tax-free and you can take it out tax-free as well. And some may leverage some insurance plans as a saving vehicle. That's a big topic on its own. And it's not what can I say? It's not a strategy that works for everybody, but it's out there. And the smart ones that know how to work it, or that are positioned to use it well, they are winning with it as well. Okay. So I put here, there are things that you can control about how you are going to be managing your money, how you're going to be growing your money. You can control that. So you can control it by doing savings, the emergency fund that you put in place, and the investments that you are also going to be doing as well. You have control over that. Even if you start small, start somewhere and get at it. There are things that you can't control at the bottom there. You can't control when you're going to die and how much time you have between now and when you're going to die, to grow your money, to put things in place for your family, to make a difference in this world. You don't know that. So things that are out of your control, we put certain things in place. If you're working with a financial advisor, they will help you understand that you need a life insurance in place, a critical insurance policy, because life insurance is when someone dies, right? And that is left to their loved ones, and they can take care of like everything and being able to continue with life, especially if they were the breadwinner, right? So think about it. Like if you, as the woman, so you are, say for example, maybe you are a stay-at-home mom. You're a full-time mom, and your husband is the only one who's working right now. If they drop dead tomorrow, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be forced to want to find a job, but it's gonna be too late because good jobs sometimes are not so easy to come. You're going to be forced in a very tight situation. So here's how you empower yourself. Make sure your husband has life insurance in place. If they are gone, at least there's continuity of those funds to take care of your family, so that you don't have to be forced, because who will take care of your kids? Putting them in daycare also costs money, and you don't have money. So this is how you empower yourself and your family. Okay? Critical illness is paid out if you have a critical illness like cancer, stroke, and all that kind of stuff, and you survive it. And it's paid out whilst you are alive, so that you can take time to recover. Most of the times, even when they are seriously sick, you see them, dragging themselves, going back to work right away. Why? Because they can't afford to lose that paycheck. And you keep getting worse and worse and worse. Why not put critical illness in place? If it doesn't happen, hey, there are other options that you have. Maybe you can have all that money that you put towards your critical illness or disability. You can have it back if nothing happens maybe after 20 years or so. There are options like that. But if something is to happen and you get a lump sum that you can use, hey, that will go a long way. Think about someone who has been sick around you and they had to go to the hospital and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we leave our husbands, our kids in the hospital, having to go back to work. We can't be beside them by their bedside just because we can't afford that. But when you empower yourself with some of these, what some of the wealthy people do, you're able to afford time away from work, being there for your child, holding their hand throughout, because that's when they need you the most. They don't need to be at work at that point in time. But if you can't afford it, because the thing is, we all have bills and the bills will not stop coming, right? These are the strategies that you can do and use to empower yourself. And estate planning, we all have to plan for that. Have a will in place. Especially in this world where there is now marriages and remarriages and all the kind of divorces and all the kind of stuff. It can make things a little bit, difficult. If your husband has kids everywhere and some, ex-wives kind of deal, and they are going to make claims on that same money. But the will, once it's put in place, it will be able to really delegate what is going to who and where at what time, right? It helps to, take out some of the challenges. So make sure that you guys have the will in place. For yourself, for your husband. It doesn't have to cost you much. Of course, sometimes you can do it with a lawyer, but sometimes you can just write it on a piece of paper and go get it authenticated. Have something in place. Okay. All right. More on savings. Okay. I like this illustration because it just talks about emotional investing. Like I said, time. You have to give time in investing. When things go up, people are excited. They are very happy. They want to buy. But guess what? They're buying when the stocks are actually more expensive. And when things the markets start to get low, they start crying, oh my God, now I want to sell those stocks because they're not making me money anymore. Guess what? They're now selling, they're buying high and selling low. So they're in the losing game. But you don't want to be that. When people are being greedy, that's when you have to be conservative. And when people are, oh my God, I'm now selling, that's where you have to buy because they are now cheap. If you know that it's a good stock, for example, good company like Tesla, I'm not saying go buy Tesla, but it's a good company. You can always go and read their financial records and stuff like that. You can hold that for the long time and it's a company that is winning and that has potential for growth and will last longer. They are so innovative and all that kind of stuff. Those are some of the things that you have to think about when you're thinking about investments, right? Okay. So for you to get yourself out of the stress of this situation of going up and down and watching, oh, is it up now? Is it down now? There's something that we call dollar cost averaging. This is where maybe on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis, you just set a specific amount that you're going to be putting regularly. So it doesn't matter whether the market is up or down. You're just regularly investing, even on a monthly basis, that same amount. So over time, it kind of levels the highs and the lows, so to say. So that's another smart way of going about it so that you're not trying to time the market. But if we knew how to time the market, hey, we'll all be rich, won't we? Yeah, so we have to empower ourselves this way. All right. I love this illustration and I have it somewhere on most of my social media platforms. We have a battle against 4 fierce and heartless competitors. They're fierce and heartless. They don't care who you are. They don't care what your name is. When they come, they come. They don't care your age. They don't care if you come from a rich family or not. When they come, they come. Right? On a scale, right? We are born, right? We are all born, right? And then we live our lives up until the time we die, right? Some people, they are born and they die right away. They don't even make it to age 1. Some, they die before they even start working their first job. But some make it to retirement. And their financial consequences all throughout. That's where you need to empower yourself and be prepared financially so that even those competitors, the fierce and heartless competitors, when they come knocking at the door, hey, you're already empowered to take care of yourself and to win. So who are these 4 fierce and heartless competitors? Death. It can come anytime to anybody, even pastors too. I'm pretty sure some of us know of a pastor that has passed away, because sometimes, I don't know, I'm a Christian, but sometimes people treat it as if, pastors don't die, or people don't, like, good people or Christians don't die. But we've seen good people, we've seen pastors, we've seen Christians passing away, going to be with the Lord. It's a beautiful thing. They're going to be with the Lord. But what's the financial impact that happens when that happens, and to their family? So some of those things that I was talking about, putting life insurance in place, having a will in place, planning for funeral expenses, all that kind of stuff. Do that. It's not like you're being negative and planning for bad things to come. You're just being wise, that you live your life as a happy person, but when things happen like that, you have a plan in place to take care of all those things. Right? We are going to get old one day. If you make it to old age, some will pass away before they even get there. But if you're going to get old, you have to be thinking about retirements and retirement savings. And possibly when we are older, maybe our bodies will be failing us. Who's going to be taking care of you? If you're no longer able to make your own decisions, you need a healthcare directive, a power of attorney, and plan those things in advance. Let them know, let your family know what your desires are in advance. Because when you're in that situation where you can no longer make decisions for yourself, they are going to make decisions on your behalf, and they might not be the ones that you really like. So empower yourself to be ready, make plans, let your family get to have some of these family meetings when you sit down and do some of these plans. Sometimes you just have to do that planning once and let them know, hey, okay, let's put this plan in place, and you know where all your financial files are, everything that is important. Even things like Google accounts, Facebook accounts, and all the kind of stuff. We usually are so protective and private about it and all the kind of stuff. That's when you find, you're getting birthday notifications for someone that passed away 2 years ago. Why? Because there was no one that they planned with to take care of all those accounts when they are gone. That's empowering yourself. We shouldn't be fearing death. We shouldn't be fearing bad things, because they will happen whether we like it or not. It's not about when. It's not about if they happen. It's about when they happen. Yes, we will pray. We always pray, and we can pray that we get well and all that kind of stuff, but we also have to be smart. Because God gave us the intelligence. God gave the doctors the brains, right, to become doctors and surgeons. God gave the lawyers brains to be lawyers, and gave you brains to be who you are and to do what you do so well and eloquently. When disability, when sickness, when old age comes, when death comes, you have to be prepared. There are so many things financially that you can do to put in place to be ready for that. And every stage, there are challenges that come with every stage. When you start working, you want to think about those costs, who's going to be taking care of your children while you're at work and all that kind of stuff. When you get married, now you have to think about your wife and kids. When you buy a house, you have to think about that. Putting mortgage in place, having insurance, making sure that you have insurance even to cover the home as well, cover your car as well. Okay. And if you are getting to retirement, then you have to make sure that you have some retirement funds in place. And there are many different strategies that you can put in place. I'm just going a little bit fast kind of deal, because I just want to give you guys some things that you can hold on to and then flesh it out along the way. Okay. All right. So let's talk about basics of insurance. So there is what we call term insurance. which can be a 10-year term, 20-year term, 15-year term, 30 term, like 30 years of coverage, so to say. And there's permanent insurance, which is coverage for life up until 100 years. Okay, so whatever it is, term insurance tends to be cheaper and permanent insurance tends to be more. There are some advantages and disadvantages of both, kind of deal. So you just have to empower yourself with knowledge and knowing what they are and what they can be used for. And sometimes your strategy may be to get term insurance. And that might be something you and your financial advisor may work to say, okay, this is what you can afford now. And based on maybe your kids are still small. So maybe up until they get to an age where they become independent, you might not need as much insurance coverage. So by then, the term insurance would have lost kind of deal. But once you still have them, like when the kids are still younger, you want to make sure that there is coverage in place to make sure that you support them for the school. If there is any debt in the house, you make sure that there's coverage, something like that. So sometimes people, just in general, we say your insurance coverage should be 10 times your annual income. 10 times your annual income. So look at your current insurance policies and see how much you have. It should be at least 10 times your annual income. So if your annual income is 50,000 per year, then you have to have over 500,000. So that at least you give, if your family is dependent on your income, or if you're dependent on your husband's income, at least they can cover for the next 10 years or for at least for the few years to come, once you figure out the next move and be able to pay off some of the debt or anything like that, right? Whether term insurance or permanent works for you, that's something that you can talk with your financial advisor to do. And for term insurance, you pay it every 10 years. It can increase in cost. It can increase every 10 years, every time when you renew it. So depending on where you are at, just find what's the cheapest and most affordable. Because if you're still younger and you just get a 10-year coverage, right? In 10 years, it will be gone, kind of deal. So you might need to get another one. If you are younger, usually it's a little bit cheaper. So if you can get the longest term that is possible that you can afford, the better. So that you empower yourself and you cover your family for the long haul. And you put it and prioritize it in your budget so that even when challenges come along the way, you're not going to be able to lose it because you are prepared financially for that. Okay? All right. For most of the people that are in Northern America, they will know that there is something that is called mortgage insurance. And most of them, they have mortgage insurance when they buy houses with mortgage. But one thing that you have to know that compared to having your own personal life insurance, when it comes to owning the policy, the bank owns the mortgage insurance policy. And the personal insurance, you own your own policy. So what's important to you? Do you want the bank to be owning it or do you want power over it? And can you choose a beneficiary? With the mortgage, no, because the bank will be the beneficiary. But if you have a personal one, then it will be yours. You can customize it if it's your own. But if it's bank, it's a mortgage insurance, you can't. The debt benefits cannot be used to cover debts and living expenses for the bank mortgage insurance because it will just go to the bank. But if it's your own, you can actually use it for some of the debts and living expenses. Rates are not guaranteed for the mortgage insurance. They can change, and especially when you are going to renew your mortgage, they may change as well. But once you have your life insurance in place, the rates will be guaranteed according to the policy. That's just an added learning right there that you have to kind of know. I don't want to really spend much time on life insurance or anything like that because there's more to it. But I wanted to really, my goal today was to really empower you with diverse information on financial literacy and financial planning so that you are empowered to make the right decisions. Now, with the information that you now know, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to sit down and say, whatever comes? Or are you the one who's going to be that diligent woman? So I can just, now we are about to just wrap up. So I can just wrap up and say, make sure you create a budget and track your income and expenses to make sure that you're on track with your finances and know where your money is going. Save regularly and set aside an emergency fund. Pay off your high interest debt first and avoid unnecessary fees with your banking and all that kind of stuff so that you can free up cash flow. Set some financial goals and plan for the future. Invest wisely and diversify your portfolios. Educate yourself and learn new financial skills to empower yourself constantly. And as much as possible, live below your means and spend less than you earn. And make sure you protect yourself, protect your assets, protect your family. All right. Any questions? I'll open this. We have a few moments. I'll open this time for some questions.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow, that was like a whole course meal that we had. I'm sure some people are we have like a lot of questions. People are just like, what was that? How do you do that? How do you get that? So I didn't see a lot of questions on the group chat, but I'm just going to ask one that was here, and it says that how do I know the inflation rate of my country? Like at the present moment, how do you find? Because some of us in different countries don't know how to check and find out what's the inflation rate of my country. Because you said if your earning is above your inflation rate, I remember that means you have to make more. So how do I check the inflation rate of my own country? Is there a system or?
Yeah, so Google is the best friend. Google is the best friend. If you just Google like inflation, like in different countries, there's something will definitely come up. The other way, you can also talk to a financial advisor. You can even talk to someone at the bank as well. They'll be able to tell you what the current inflation rate is going as well. So one thing that I want to like really emphasize is like, sometimes we think some of this financial knowledge and financial empowerment things are for people that are learned and all that kind of stuff, and we can't get that information ourselves. We can and we should. Some of this information we can even self-educate ourselves and self-empower ourselves, through trusted platforms like your own bank, right? They may have a website, right? On that website, there's word of knowledge. Take some time once in a while to check what they're posting there so that you can empower yourself with current trends, what is going on, and even learning about things that you don't know yet. So Google will be the best to check some of these things if you're just doing a quick check as well.
much. Like one thing I've heard there is that don't be scared to go to your bank and move in and say, how's my money growing? The money I put in
Mhm.
last year, how's it growing? What's the inflation rate? What's happening right now? So that's very
Yeah.
important. We all should really go back to your bank. It doesn't matter if it's a credit union or it's a big bank like UBA. Go to them and ask your accountant. They have that responsibility to tell you, how is my money growing? How can I better invest it to get more returns on that money? Okay, I
Mhm.
don't know if you have any other questions. I'll just open the floor. If you have a question, you just unmute and ask your question. But please, if you don't have a question, you can please mute. Somebody posted a question on the group. I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
One second. Okay. So the question is that, please, if your earning right now is sufficient for like just sending your kids to school and nothing else to save, we call that investment for the future. Can we call that investment for the future? So she's asking if the only money she makes now is
Mhm.
it's sufficient to send her kids to school and maybe pay her bills. How can she like invest for the future? What are the things that she can do so that she can invest for her children's future? Because paying your children's school fees is not really investing for their future. Yes, you're sending them to school, but how long, right? She was saying here that if you're not there, who will continue to send them to school? How would they continue to go to school? But I'll just let her. I don't know if she understands the question to throw a little bit more light on it.
Okay. Yeah, if I'm understanding from, I just read it, this one, she's trying to imply that by sending her kids to school, that's investing in their future, like for the future, right?
Yeah.
But that's also implying that you're going to, you think your kids are going to grow up and mature to a level whereby they'll be self-sufficient and maybe they'll also take care of you as well in the future. But that's an assumption that we can't make confidently ourselves because our lives are in God's hands. They are not our own, right? So even though it's a good thing that we educate our kids and all that kind of stuff, we can't rely on them being able to then take care of us in the future. So you yourself, you have to put certain things in place. So if your current income, you're just working maybe that is just sufficient for the basic needs right now, and you want to have more income that you can have free to be able to invest as well, right? Then you having to look at it to say, okay, in your current company, are you able to do overtime so that you can get more money? Or are you able to get a promotion so that you can increase your income? Or do you have to change your current job to another job that's going to pay you more so that you can have more money? Because you need to create that cash flow, right? You need to create it, find ways to do that. Or do you want to have a second job that you can have more income, that you can have at your disposal for the other things that you want to do and for the different financial plans that you want to put in place? So don't limit yourself to just say, okay, just because things are what they are, there's no hope for me to change or anything like that. Open yourself to the different other opportunities. Don't limit yourself just because that's what it is. You can change it. You can have another job. You can have a second job. You can have a business, a part-time business, a side hustle that will help create that extra money, because you do need to start preparing for your future financially, separately from the just taking care of your kids. Because if, say for example, peradventure, God forbid it happens, but they pass away at age maybe 17 or 18, and you have been investing all your money into just them, right? You're going to be in a shock that now all that efforts that you were putting, they are gone because you put your trust in something that is you have no control over, kind of deal, right? But you saving your money, you working diligently on your goals and stuff like that, putting plans in place, you have control over that, right? What you are going to do and how much you want to earn, right? You position yourself to do that, and you go get the more money that you want to do, right? So talk amongst yourself, like talk to other sisters around you. What are they doing that is helping them thrive financially, right? So that you can position yourself to be like that as well. I hope that helps.
Yeah, very, very much. Thank you very much. Because one of the things I also heard from today is how to multiply yourself to get, like, you must not be going, like she was saying, that you don't have to be going to that job. You can go to places and see that there's a need here. If you're only like frying, let's say you're doing granules, you can go to somewhere, go to different stores and ask them, can I bring my granite here? And then I give you a percentage of that which I'm selling. Then you put it in different places. You multiply yourself to get money from different places, that you are not the one walking around and hugging, or you can make money while you're doing your own job. That's what she started by talking about when she mentioned about you giving, like, employing people to do the work for you, to become like a business owner, or like to build a business. So that's a very powerful one. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's another question. Please, you can just unmute and ask your question. Okay, while we're waiting for them to unmute or to ask a question or to indicate that they have a question, I wanted to ask a question about, like, budgeting, right? Talking about someone with a little, let's say the income, like for example, our sister that just asked the question. What if her money, sorry, what if her money is just, her salary is small enough to take care of her children and let's just say her financial situation, pay her bills and help, and how does she go about budgeting at the present moment while thinking about, like, okay, I need to get a business, I need to increase my income? How can somebody in that kind of financial situation do budgeting? Is it like cut costs, or how? What do you advise?
Okay, so it would be the same way, right? Get to know what your current income is, put those numbers together, put them down, right? And your current expenses, what they are, put them down, put them all together, right? So that you can have a true picture of what it is, right? And even though you might not have extras and all that kind of stuff, just that fact of actually just having an overview and true reflection of where you are at right now, right? Then you can start thinking of the other ways, even not just going to find another job or getting a different job or anything like that. The other ways that you can supplement your budget, right? So, for example, people here in Canada, right? If they are short in their cash flow, they can, instead of having to go buy everything at the grocery store for food, right? Some of them, they can supplement their budget by a portion of it, they can access the food bank, right? If they are short on money, the food bank gives them certain foodstuffs, and then they will just pay for the other few stuff that they didn't get with the food hamper that they got at the food bank. That's another way to supplement the budget, right? So and the other thing is, like, if you drive, right? If you drive, and maybe you have a car, you have insurance that you're paying for and all that kind of stuff, right? So, and you're paying for gas as well, right? Maybe you can buy a monthly bus pass, and then maybe you can just calculate it and see how much are you spending on gas and how much are you spending on this, and also factoring in, like, time that it takes to get from one point to another. You can supplement it by, instead of driving, maybe someone might bike to work or might take a bus to work, kind of deal. So some of the creative ways of doing that, or of supplementing their budgets, right? And then even, like, sometimes, like, the food that you eat, right? Instead of just maybe every day you're cooking every day different meals and all that kind of stuff, you can maybe say on Sunday you make a big meal, right? And then you make meals for the whole week, kind of deal. We call it meal planning or something like that. right? So that one, you are saving time so that you can free up time to do other things, like maybe a side hustle or anything like that. And two, you are eating on a budget, right? You're not always, well, sometimes it's those times when we don't feel like we have food that is ready to eat, that we jump to say, okay, let's go buy takeout or, buy something else kind of deal, right? But when you kind of do your meal planning and meal prepping, that's another way to free up some cash flow, right? Because you don't have to be buying impulse buying every time and all that kind of stuff, right? And when you shopping with a list, making sure you're staying on budget and staying on track with your money. I think that will be some of the things that will help you, even when you have a limited budget, to help you just stay on track whilst you're looking for other opportunities where you expand your current income and maybe find more income as well.
Very much. Wow. That's powerful. So from what I've heard, you're talking about we should track our meal, like we should track our budget. If we do some budgeting and track how our money is being spent. Because honestly, even with me, I've noticed that when I don't track how my money is spent, or because my husband always tell me, track how you're spending your money so you can know what comes in and how much you're spending. Because you'll be surprised that when you track it, you say, I've spent 20,000 on food this month. But if you don't track it, you will never know. If you're overcharged on something, you may never know until you track it and see that, why am I overcharged on this area? And you try to cut down. You try to make plans to say, okay, last month we spent 20,000 francs or 30,000 francs on food. How can we spend less? Maybe we'll go and buy in bulk and come and keep in the house, or rather than going to the market every week, as she was saying, we do it in bulk. We decide to say, okay, this is how much I've been spending. I want to cut down on it. Track my meal. I cook for the whole week. We eat what's in there. If it's not there, we're not eating. We eat what's in the house. So that's a powerful one. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to invite for the last minute from some feedback. If we don't have questions, for some feedback for Minister Grace, as I like to call her. Yeah, if we have some feedback, please, the floor is open.
Okay. And just to also round up on my end, because I know we have like four minutes to call. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today and listening to us. I really appreciate all of you taking time to empower yourself with this knowledge. I hope and trust that you are going to make a decision to act even on one of the things that we talked about, even if it's just having a discussion with your husband or with some friends to say, hey, let's do this together, or let's sit down and make this plan together, or we need to plan for this for the future, or to do an emergency fund. Just take an action. Even if it's like to put a resume out there to get another job that pays you a little bit better, kind of thing, just take action. The Bible talk to us about being doers and not just hearers as well, right? It also applies here. Let's not just, because you want yourself a year from today. You don't want to be in the same position that you are in right now. And the only thing that will guarantee you to be in a different position than you are in right now is you taking action, making an action that starts today until next year. If nothing changes, you can be guaranteed nothing's going to change. But if you want to make a change, then put a plan in place, have a vision board, put it in front of you, make it a prayer board instead, right? You pray over those things that you have in your mind to want to accomplish in this next few months or a year. Make your vision board your prayer board, or the kind of lifestyle that you want to build, make it a prayer board. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. I really trust you get something from this. And now that you are empowered as a woman, make sure you go empower someone else out there, okay? And make sure you follow me. I'm on all social media, most of the social media platforms as Int'l Grace today. slash Chikore. That's my married name. So you can follow me and let's learn together. Say hello so that I know you were here today. If you add me as a friend today, I'll know that you are coming from this platform. So feel free to add me and let's connect and let's learn. I usually post some of the videos. I usually share some of the thoughts and more education pieces. So feel free to connect with me and let's learn together. Okay. Make sure you make your vision board your prayer board. Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate you for coming. In fact, I just want to invite maybe one of or two of our leaders for some. I know feedback is always very important for some feedback and just to say thank you. Thank you for availing yourself. Thank you for this teaching. It was a lot of important information that I believe that the Warrior Women International will not be the same again. Like when we say we're building things, everybody's like, oh, I got it. I'm doing it. So thank you so much. Warrior coordinators, please, can you just unmute and give a word? Thank you.